In this video, we're going to talk about infinite geometric sequences. So first, complete this warm-up. Go ahead and give it a try if you haven't done it already. So pause the video, give it a try. When you're ready, play the video. All right, so in this problem, it gives us the sequence 243, 162, 108, 72. So I can see I'm not subtracting. I can see my numbers are getting smaller, so that means I either need to be subtracting or multiplying by a fraction. So I can see I'm not subtracting by a common value because my terms are not evenly spaced. So I'm going to assume that this is a geometric sequence. So to figure out what my common ratio is, I can do my second term divided by my first term, or I could do my third divided by my second, any of those. So if I do 162 divided by 243, I'm going to get 2/3 as my common ratio. So then I can write my explicit formula. And so I know my first term is 243, and then my common ratio is 2/3. So then if I want to find a9, that means I'm going to find the 9th term. And so my 9th term actually comes out to 256 over 27 when you type this in the calculator. Then they want me to find S9. So what that means is this means term 9. S would be the sum of the first 9 terms. So my sum formula is that A1, 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. So 243 times 1 minus 2/3 to the 9th over 1 minus 2/3. And so then I would get 19,171 over 27 as the sum of those first 9 terms. And so what we've only talked about are finite geometric series, meaning sums like the first 9 terms. But in theory, we could sum an infinite series, meaning all the terms, kind of just depending on what type of series it is. So if we look at this first case, number 1, I have this sequence or sum of 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, so on and so forth. So my common ratio is 2. So if I found the sum of the first 10 terms, that'd be about 1,024. The first 30 terms gets really big. The first 50 terms, it gets super big. Because again, this 15th power means I'm multiplying by 10 15 times. So this sum, as I go towards infinity, this sum is actually summing towards infinity. So that means really there's no way for me to find the sum because the sum is just going to add to infinity. But if I look at a different case, like this one where my numbers are getting smaller, and I can see that my common ratio would be multiplying by 1/3. Again, if you weren't sure that, you could do your second term divided by your first term. And that would give me 1/3. Oh, this should be a 9, sorry. So if I find the sum of the first 5 terms, I get 13. The first 10 terms, I get like 13.49. First 15 terms, 13.999. So I can see that my sum is going towards 13.5. And it's kind of getting closer to that and closer to that, and it's not really going over that. All right, let's look at one more case. So let's say I have this case, so 140 to negative 105 to 315 over 4 to negative 945 over 16. So again, to find that common ratio, I could do A2 divided by A1. So if I did negative 105 divided by 140, I would get negative 3/4 as my common ratio. So again, let's look at the sum. The sum of the first 5 terms is 98.98. The sum of the first 10 terms is 75.494. First 15 terms is 81. And as I get bigger and bigger, I can see that I'm summing towards 80. So as it goes to infinity, my sum is approaching 80. So what do we notice? So I couldn't find the sum when my r was 2. I could find the sum of an infinite series when my r was 1/3, and I also could find the sum when it was negative 3/4. So what that tells me is that if a sequence has a sum, it does something called converge, meaning it's coming to a number like the 13.5 or the 80. If it's diverging, that means it's going to infinity. So when will a finite and infinite series converge? Well, it's when our r is between -1 and 1, or a lot of times you'll see it written as the absolute value of r is less than 1. So really, like the 1/3 or the -3/4, our r is less than 1, but again, the absolute value. So it's between -1 and 1. And so that's the only time that an infinite geometric series will have a sum. All right, so let's give this a try. So we're going to prove it now. So here's our sum formula that we just found for, and again, this was for a finite sum, or a finite series, you could call it, meaning I'm finding the sum of 1 to 10 terms. So you're finding a sum of a specific number of terms versus of all the terms in the sequence. So if I do, as n approaches infinity, the sum would equal a1 times 1 minus 0. So we're going to replace this r to the n with 0 because we are finding an infinite, so we don't have an n, over 1 minus r. So when we have an infinite sum of a geometric series, so again, that's a geometric sequence that we're summing, and our absolute value of r is less than or equal to 1, then to find the sum, we're going to use this formula of a1 over 1 minus r. So again, this is only for an infinite geometric series. So that means you're summing to infinity. Versus a finite, you're summing to a number. Okay, so that's kind of the way to differentiate between those two formulas. All right, so we're going to look at these two and see kind of if it's possible to find the sum or not. So this first one's an infinite series. I can see that my r is 0.4, and so that follows the rule that my absolute value of r is less than 1. So yes, I can find my infinite sum. So I'm going to take my first term, and be careful, your first term you got to plug in 1 for n. And so my first term is going to be 4. So 4 over 1 minus 0.4. So the sum of this infinite series is going to approach 20 over 3. All right, this is not a geometric sequence. I can tell because it's a linear equation, like 1/2 x, 1/2 j plus 1. This would be a line. So this is an arithmetic sequence or sum. And so there is no sum of an infinite arithmetic sequence. All right, so this next one is also a geometric series, but I have to look, remember this follows a pattern of a1 of r to the n minus 1. So this would be my r value. So since that is not less than 1, that means there's no sum for this one. This one's again similar. This would be a1 r to the n. In this case, they just call it I. So my r is -2/3. So since that is the absolute value of that would be less than 1, there is a sum. So I'll use my sum formula. Again, I need to find a1 by plugging in 1 for I. And so my a1, oh, actually, I don't need to find a1. For this one, they tell me that I is 0. So I actually need to find 0 is the first term of the sequence. So that'll be 9. So 9 over 1 minus -2/3 would equal 27 over 5. All right, if I look at 5, I'm subtracting 5, subtracting 4, then I don't know. Okay, so it's not subtracting. So let's see if I can figure out a common ratio. So 20 over 25 would give me 4/5. 16 over 20 would give me also 4/5. So I can see my common ratio is 4/5. And so since that is less than 1, I can find my sum of this infinite geometric series. So I'm going to have 25 over 1 minus 4/5, which would be 25 over 1/5, which will give me 125. This one, I'm subtracting 0.9 every time. So since I'm subtracting, this is arithmetic. So there's no sum. All right, let's look at these last couple problems. So this is the sum of an infinite geometric series whose common ratio is -3/4. The sum is 24 over 7. Find the third term. All right, so we're going to do 2 steps. So first we're going to use our infinite geometric formula, infinite geometric sum formula, to find the A1. And I'm going to use A1, and then I'm going to use my explicit formula after that to then find that third term. So I know that the sum is equal to A1 over 1 minus negative 3/4. So I'm going to have, right up here, 24 over 7 equals A1 over, well, 1 minus negative 3/4 would be 7/4. So from here I could cross multiply, or you could multiply to get A1 alone a different way, but I think cross multiplying is probably the easiest. So I'm going to have 24 times 7/4 equals 7A1, which means I'm going to have 42 equals 7 times A1, and so A1 would equal 6. All right, so now let's use this formula. So I want to find the third term when my A1 is 6, my common ratio is negative 3/4, and again I'm finding the third term, so I'm going to put 3 in for n, and I would get 3.375, or if you wrote it as a fraction, 27 over 8 would be my third term. All right, in number 8, they say 1 plus 2x minus 3 plus 2x minus 3 squared plus 2x3 minus 3 cubed is an infinite geometric series. Find the value of x if the sum is 4/5. So first I want to think about what the formula would be. So I think the formula would be 2x minus 3 to the n minus 1 power, because if I put, assuming that this first term n equals 1, this second term n equals 2, then if I put 1 in, I would get to the 0 power, which is 1. If I put 2 in, I would get to the first power, 3, second power, and so on and so forth. So I'm assuming this is my formula. So that means I know that my r is 2x minus 3. So now if I'm going to use this, my infinite sum formula, I know that my sum is 4/5. I know that A1 is 1, and I know that my r is 2x minus 3. So if I go to solve this, I'm going to have 5/4 equals 1 over, so distribute the negative in, 1 minus 2x plus 3, which would be 1 over negative 2x plus 2. Nope, plus 4. So then we're going to cross multiply again. So I'm going to have 4 equals negative 10x plus 20. So minus 20, so I'll have negative 16 equals negative 10x. And so my x will equal 1.6.